Hi everyone, welcome to the BoldSign API tutorial. In this video, I'll show you how to implement collaborative field editing using the BoldSign PHP SDK. By the end of this video, you'll learn what collaborative fields are, why they're useful in real-world workflows, and how to configure them using the API. Supported field types includes text box, checkbox, radio button, drop-down, and editable date. In a contract workflow, a client fills in details like their name and pricing, then signs. A legal reviewer then reviews the same fields, makes corrections if needed, and signs using collaborative fields. Both participants can work on the same fields, ensuring accuracy, agreement, and compliance before finalizing the document. Let me show you how to do that. First, make sure you have PHP version 7.4 or higher installed. You can install the BoldSign PHP SDK package using Composer. To install the SDK, copy this command, then add it to your project's composer.json file. Then run the Composer install command in the terminal to install the dependencies. Since I've already installed it, I'll confirm the setup by running this command. As you can see, the package is installed and ready to go. Here, I already have a sample BoldSign PHP code for sending a signature request. In this scenario, the sales team sends a document to a client and a legal reviewer. Now let's see how to make a shared field accessible to both the client and the legal reviewer so they can collaborate and update its value within the document. First, in the API configuration, I set the API key to connect with BoldSign services. If you haven't generated an API key yet, simply log into the BoldSign web app, navigate to the API section, select API keys, and generate a new key. The document API object is used to perform operations such as sending, retrieving, and managing them. Next, I define the fields for my document. I start by setting the client's signature fields. I set the field type to signature, then set the bounds to position it correctly in the document. Next, I configure the text box field for client's name, set the field type to text box, then set the bounds. Next, I'm going to add a text box for entering the pricing. I set the field type to text box, then set the bounds. Since both the client and the legal reviewer need to collaborate on this field, I configure collaboration settings to manage the process. In the collaborative settings, I set these properties to true. Is required. This property specifies whether collaborative fields are mandatory for signers collaborating on the document. Require signer approval. This property specifies whether signers need to verify and approve the document after collaborators have made changes to the collaborative fields. Require initial. This property specifies whether the collaborators must fill in their initials when editing collaborative fields. Allowed signers. This property specifies the list of signer IDs who are allowed to collaborate on editing this field. I then assign the legal reviewer's ID, ensuring that only the legal reviewer can modify the shared field. You can restrict collaboration to specific signers or allow all signers. By default, the first signer is also treated as a collaborator. Next, I set the client details. I set the name. I configure the signer ID, which plays an important role in the collaboration workflow, as it is required when defining the allowed signers. Then set the email address. Now for the legal reviewer's signature field, I set the field type to signature and define the bounds. Next, I configure the legal reviewer signer details. I set the name and assign their ID, which is required for a collaborative field access, then email address. Even though the legal reviewer only has a signature field directly assigned, they can still collaborate on the pricing field because collaboration was enabled earlier. In the send for sign object, I upload the document file. Include both the client and the legal reviewer as signers, and set the title. In the document API, I pass the send4sign object to the sendDocument method and print the document ID in the console. I then run the sample. Once successful, a document ID is returned, confirming that the document has been sent. Now let's switch to the signer side and see how both parties complete the document. First, the client receives an email to sign the document. I click Review and Sign, which takes me to the signing page. I accept the terms and conditions, then proceed. On the signing page, I fill in the required details. When I click on a collaborative field, a tooltip appears indicating that I am one of the collaborators for that field. I then fill in the required details and proceed to complete the signing process. Next, the legal reviewer receives the document. I click Review and Sign to open it. When I click on a collaborative field, a tooltip appears indicating that one of the collaborators has edited the field. I review the entered details, edit the pricing field, and add my initials when making changes. Since approval is required, I approve the updates and then sign the document. Because the pricing field requires approval, any modification automatically triggers an approval process before the document can proceed further. Once the legal reviewer approves the updated pricing, the client receives an email notification. The client is then directed back to the document and informed that a collaborator has made changes. To proceed, I click Continue, review the updates, add my initials to acknowledge the changes, and complete the signing process. After the signing process is complete, all recipients receive an email notification confirming that the document has been successfully signed, along with a copy of the final document and the audit trail attached. Please note, the following limitations apply when working with collaborative fields. Collaborative fields are not supported for single signer or self-signed documents. Collaborators cannot be in-person signers, group signers, or reviewers. Not compatible with documents using print and sign, fields with data sync tags, fields with conditional logic, and formula fields. That's it. You've learned how to use collaborative fields to allow multiple users to edit the same field, control approvals and changes, and keep workflows accurate and efficient. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like and subscribe for more BoldSign API tutorials. Thank you for watching.